Hello viewers, today we will talk about why during the gold standard there was neither inflation in the world nor the need to impose things like income tax. So we will see what happened in the world after the gold standard was removed. So look at this chart. This is the inflation chart of America. You can see that for almost 200 years inflation stayed almost at the same level, nearly zero. Whenever wars happened, prices of some commodities did increase, but overall inflation did not exist. From when did inflation start increasing? From 1971. From 1971, severe inflation started in America. Now, because America's currency is the global reserve currency, if inflation rises in America, it automatically gets exported to the rest of the world. Precious metals and many other things are bought in dollars, so they keep becoming more expensive. In one way, inflation gets exported to the world. So, if you see here, inflation starts rising after 1971. 1971 was the year when the gold standard was ended. Now if we look at the healthcare cost chart, healthcare costs were also at the same level earlier. There was no inflation in that either, but after 1971 we can observe that medical expenses kept on rising continuously. Similarly, if we talk about house prices, earlier house prices used to be stable. A person could easily buy a house by saving a few years of income. Earlier a person could buy a house by saving 2.5 years of income. Today it is 7 to 8 years in America. And in countries like India, it is 12 to 15 years or even more. This also started after 1971. The unreasonable increase in property prices and house prices started from 1971, not only in America but across the whole world. Even if we take a small example like the price of a can of tomatoes, you will see that it used to remain the same, but after 1971 it became expensive. So inflation also started in food items. Even though agricultural productivity kept increasing, earlier what was produced from 1 acre, today 4 times more is produced. But still, instead of becoming cheaper, things are becoming expensive. The reason is the same. Then if we talk about education, earlier the cost of 1 year of fees in the US was equal to roughly 14 weeks of full-time work. That also changed. Education also started becoming very expensive after 1971. Before that, its cost used to remain stable. Look at the cost of raising children, how it has increased exponentially after 1971. Due to this, now people do not think beyond 1 or 2 children because the cost of raising children keeps increasing. If we see what happened from 1971 and why it happened, then look at the debt. Look at America's debt before and after 1971. It has been increasing non-stop since the gold standard ended. Now the question is, why did prices start rising so much after 1971 when earlier this did not happen? Inflation came into the world only after 1971. Earlier it was temporary and small, but now it is permanent year on year and it is compounding. Inflation on top of inflation is happening every year. So why does inflation happen? Inflation has two simple reasons. When the demand for something is high and the production is low, inflation rises. Or when people spend more than their income, inflation rises. Demand exists only when people have enough money to spend. And when can people spend extra? When money supply is high. So higher money supply is the root cause of inflation. Whenever money supply increases, inflation will definitely come. After 1971, the gold standard ended in America and then in all other countries, and governments got the freedom to print as much money as they want and circulate it. Every time even 1 rupee enters the system, it reduces the value of existing money, and this is called inflation. So the root cause is higher money supply, and higher money supply has been going on continuously since 1971. It will continue because government debt is increasing in every country and that debt is never paid off. Take the debt of any country, America, Japan, India or any Indian state government. Whenever debt is taken, it is never repaid. Only interest is paid and new debt is taken again and again. Everyone keeps taking new debt, sometimes for war, sometimes to buy public votes. So debt keeps increasing. Interest keeps increasing and the public keeps paying for it. And for the public to keep paying for it, prices must rise because inflation is a type of indirect tax that the government collects from the public. Some people argue that because of money printing, economic growth has increased. Benefits have happened, productivity has increased, innovation has happened. This is partially true. Productivity has increased by 246%, but compensation or income has not increased in the same proportion. Income has increased only about half as much as productivity. This is why life today is more difficult. Earlier, one person in a family could work, buy a house, educate children and handle everything. Today, every adult in a household has to work and still their life is a struggle. This is because productivity increased but income did not increase in the same proportion. So the gap between income and productivity is the reason for struggle. People have to struggle for every rupee, for houses, for education, for everything. The gap is growing year on year and it started in 1971. Before that, income and productivity moved together. But now income is flat and everything else is growing. Now if you observe another data, here GDP has grown but the per person share has gone down. Thus wages compared to GDP are shrinking. When extra money supply enters, governments print money whenever they want. For example, America printed $2 trillion to fight in Afghanistan. The interest on that $2 trillion is being paid by the American citizens. Taxes are high because of unnecessary spending. This tax is not really for development. Development only needs 2 to 5% tax. The rest is wasteful. Income tax started around 1920 and after 1971 it became very large everywhere. Earlier custom duties and trade taxes were enough to run governments. Service tax started at 5% in 1994. Today it has gone up to 12.36%. Yet people's lives have not improved much. Under the gold standard, there were no trade deficits. Trade was self-balancing because money supply depended on gold. If a country imported too much, its gold reduced, money supply fell, prices dropped, which made the exports competitive in international market, due to which exports rose and gold returned. It was an automatic balancing system. With fiat money today, people pay taxes everywhere and still feel stressed. The problem is not leaving the gold standard. The problem is that fiat money has no discipline. Now many countries are so deep in debt that they cannot even pay the interest. This could lead to a major economic reset, possibly even a return to a gold-based or similar system. That is all for today. You can share your thoughts in the comments.